Welcome back to Cinematic Sarcastic, podcast that talks all things movies and television. I'm Natalie, and I'm your host. On today's episode, we are going to talk about Presumed Innocent. This is a new thriller series. I believe it's on Apple TV that has just come out, starring Jake Gyllenhaal. There are 3 episodes at the time of recording this that are available to watch. Now, I do want to sort of preface this by saying that Presumed Innocent, or this thriller series of Presumed Innocent, is a remake of the 1990 film of the same title starring Harrison Ford. Now, I had known that this show was a remake, but I mean, it's been a million years, I feel like, at this point, probably since the 90s, since I have seen the Harrison Ford version. So it wasn't until I kind of went on to sort of look at comparisons for the podcast that I was like, nuts. I've ruined the ending of this television series for myself, because I'd completely kind of forgotten the story, had my own sort of theories going. And then once I started seeing like some of the stills from the Harrison Ford version, I was like, well, now I remember everything. I've ruined it for myself. So for anyone who is not familiar with Presumed Innocence, this is a murder sort of mystery television show. You have Jake Gyllenhaal, who is a Chicago prosecuting attorney, and a coworker of his is murdered in a rather horrific way, and he is put on the case until it is discovered that him and this coworker were having an affair. Now, of course, he is married, and this causes a huge stir, obviously, among his family, but also among, a lot of the other people that he is working with, because there are some details kind of involving his relationship with this woman that then point the finger at his character, who is Rusty in the television show, to being the one who has murdered her. So the entire series, and thus the movie, kind of goes down this path of the character of Rusty trying to prove his own innocence when all of the, forensics and everything is stacked against him. You've got fingerprints that are in her apartment, obviously, because they're having an affair and all of that good stuff. So I think, honestly, even though I am not the biggest fan of remakes when Hollywood does these, I really think that the remake of Presumed Innocent is a decent one to watch, especially, for instance, if you haven't seen the Harrison Ford version, then you could go into this one completely blind and not really have an issue with it. But I think even if you have seen the 1990 version of Presumed Innocent, that you can still go into this and still really enjoy it. I think the acting is really top notch. One of the things that surprised me the most about Presumed Innocent is that there are a couple of teenage kids, obviously, in this one. Like Rusty and his wife have some children who are teens, and I actually really enjoyed their performances as well. I think they are doing a good job. I think in Hollywood it's harder, to find child and teen actors that don't kind of come across as a little bit more cheesy, but I do think that both of the kids in this series are doing a job that I think is comparable to the actors around them. I really like Jake Gyllenhaal's performance in this one. I think he has that like perfect sort of mix between a character that you can kind of relate to, but a character that in some aspects you don't like very much. He like treads that line of likability that I think he is pulling off quite well. And really, like, the big standout one for me in this series has to be Peter Sarsgaard. I absolutely hate him in this show, which I feel like the same with House of the Dragon's Kristen Cole. That is just a testament to how good of an actor you are, because his character of Tommy and then this other character named Nico really are like my most, I'm like, I just don't like you, because that's really just kind of the point. They are out to get Rusty. They do not like him from the very beginning of the show. So you see that really play out, and they just have that vindictive nature to them that I think they pull off quite well in this series. So even though it is a shorter review, because this might be one that many people are pretty familiar with already, I definitely do recommend Presumed Innocent if you are looking for a new thriller series to watch. I think this one is really decent and worth the go. So those are my thoughts on Presumed Innocent. I would love to know what you guys thought if you have seen this one. Subscribe to join the Movie Nerd family, and I hope to see you in the next episode.